The other day, I was curious to learn what I would hear if I just sat in silence outside. So I went and sat on our hammock in the backyard and I listened, and I heard cars driving, and it was windy, so I heard the wind rustling through the trees, and I heard kids laughing a couple doors down because they were playing. I heard some birds. All these things may seem insignificant and little, or common, like they happen all the time, but at that moment, to me, it made my day better because I was really stressed, and it brought me a moment of peace. And oftentimes, the things that may seem little actually aren't as little as we think. Take a paperclip, for example. I follow somebody on Facebook whose dad passed away a couple weeks ago. And a day or two after he passed away, she shared that he used to look for paper clips with her. Or if they saw a paper clip, they would tell the other one because that was their sign of good luck, and like everything was going to be okay. So a day or two after he passed away, she found a paper clip. And everybody else who had seen that paper clip that day probably either didn't even notice it at all or didn't think anything of it. But to her, it made her feel like she was okay and that she could do this, and she was able to feel her dad close to her. Another person I know who always focused on the little things is a dear friend of mine, and she actually passed away last night. She was a sweet little old widow. Her husband had died 50 years ago, and but she was always happy. And one thing that I loved was almost daily she would send or post a picture of something that she noticed that day. So a couple days ago, it was blossoms in her tree in her backyard that finally blossomed, and one day it was the clouds in the sky because she looked outside and just thought, wow, it's such a pretty sky, I wanted to share it with people. And I love that she focused and didn't take for granted the little things. It's important to remember the little things in our day too, not just when they happen. There have been lots of studies that show that even just trying to think of 3 good things that happened in your day will actually make you happier, even if you can't think of the 3 things. And so oftentimes when I try to do that, it's little things. Like, oh, I saw sunrise as I walked to school and it just made me happy. Or someone remembered my name and said hi in the hall. Little things that, maybe the person who said hi didn't even remember that they said hi. But to me, I still remember times when that's happened because it was a rough day and that made my day. And so it's always important to focus on the good things, even if they seem little. Speaking of focusing positively, we've all heard the saying, you are what you eat. Well, a school counselor in junior high told me, you are what you think. So if I am always thinking negative thoughts, if I'm being really pessimistic, I will feel negative. My mood will be pessimistic and I'll feel sad, which is what was happening at the time. I was always focusing on the negative, and I was always feeling sad, and I had not felt that sad in my life, and it was a hard time. But on the flip side, if I started thinking positively and I focused on the good and found the silver linings, I would feel good. I would feel positive and happy. And so I tried that, just for one day to see what happened. And I was not nearly as sad. And I thought, wow, this is crazy. Like, even just thinking about different things, or when I started thinking negatively, thinking, okay, what's something good that can come out of this? Or what's a lesson I could learn? Totally changed my mood, like permanently. I would say that 90-95% of the time I am happy. Of course, I still get sad. That's part of life. But I think that me focusing on the positive is what really allows me to be happy. So it's important to focus on the positive things and find the silver linings and be grateful for the little things in life, because it will change your life. And I know that it will because I've tried it and it's changed mine. So that's the message I wanted to share with you today. Thank you for listening.